Flip, 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 flip weekly.
Good afternoon, I am Heidi Tiltons. Welcome to the Flip Weekly podcast, a podcast all about reselling, going to thrift stores, going to op shops, hearing the exact same smooth 95.3 theme song every single day of the fucking week, and hearing Heidi Tiltons announce herself gives us all some horrible news. Now, this has been a bit of a slow week, but a good week at the same time. We haven't really found too much in op shops and thrift stores, but we have been able to make really great sales, as well as finding a bundle of video games on Marketplace that we can easily double our money on. And that's what Facebook Marketplace is all about. It's the last line of defense, especially when it comes to this podcast, because thrifting is all about timing. It's about luck. In most cases, you have no control whatsoever over how much success you have on that day. You go into a thrift store, and if they don't have good quality donations, you're going to leave with nothing. And let me tell you, when you're hosting a podcast and writing a reseller newsletter all about finding over $100 items in thrift stores, it gets a bit much. And you start to feel the pressure of needing to find these cool items, and you need to fall back on Facebook Marketplace on the weekend. And that's what I've done. Luckily, it worked out for us. I'm going to talk to you all about these Facebook Marketplace pickups. I'm going to talk to you about an insane sale that is my biggest Marketplace flip of all time. It's $20 into $500, plus a boatload of other sales that have kept us, spirits high, because the spirits are low when you leave op shops empty-handed. With that said, I guess it is sort of bittersweet, because you're coming home and you don't need to do a bunch of listing. You don't need to peel off those stickers that leave residue everywhere. You don't need to take photos, set up your little lighting, make sure items are clean. So I guess it's bittersweet. We didn't have to do too much of that. Tell a lie, we did, because this Facebook Marketplace pickup was very dirty. But look, let's get into it, because we need to talk about what we bought. And what we bought this week is, what everyone hopes to get on a weekend if you're reselling. On a weekend, if you're a reseller, you're either going to garage sales, it's the same thing, going to garage sales, going to thrift stores, or looking on Facebook Marketplace. And the number one thing most resellers look out for is the beautiful, the oversaturated, in some cases overrated video game category. I enjoy reselling video games. I think it's fun when you come across one specific game that is worth a buttload of money, which has happened. But it's also fun because you get to play the video games. You get to test them out before they sell. And in most cases, they're quick movers, so you don't have long to play them. Although with that said, I'm not much of a fucking video game player. I don't really play them. I never really grew up with them. When I was growing up with these, what are now called retro video games, video game consoles, it was just with my dad, right? And Dad wouldn't buy us. It wasn't our console, first of all. I have to make it very clear. It was his. We're the kids, but it's his, right? He would buy games for himself and then want us to play them, with him. The Nintendo 64. Never played Mario Kart or Super Mario. It was all inappropriate games for kids, like Conker's Bad Fur Day. Don't get me wrong, it's a great game. I haven't played it since, but I don't have nostalgia for Mario Kart because we never played it as kids. Same with the Sega Mega Drive, which is the bundle that I got this weekend. We would play Asteroids. That's not fun for a kid. We didn't play any of the main titles like Sonic the Hedgehog. No, fucking Asteroids and Columns, which is the Tetris game. Again, no fun as a kid. And then when I would go over to my best friend at the time's house to play the PlayStation 1, I don't have nostalgia for the PlayStation 1 or any of the games that came out, because this was a weird kid who had a steering wheel to go with the PlayStation 1, and he wanted to be a bus driver when he grew up. So he would get into a car and he would drive it like a bus. I'm not even fucking kidding. Another bus would come past on the other side of the road, and he would replicate what the bus drivers do in real life. He would wave to these cunts. It's a video game. He would put his hand up and wave. I'm like sitting on the bed watching this guy side-eyed being like, can you come get me, mum? So I don't have any nostalgia for these video games. But I guess that doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter when it comes to reselling. You don't need to enjoy or like any of this crap. You just have to know that it's worth money. So getting back to it, I was scrolling on Facebook Marketplace on Saturday, looking for something worth talking about. You know, you find one or two things and you're like, oh, I can make some money on it, but it's not fun. You know, it doesn't spark any fucking joy. And I saw this bundle that was listed about an hour ago. You know, that's quite long for a video game bundle. The title was Sega Mega Drive and Games. There was only 2 photos. The first photo was the console as well as 2 controllers, and then the second photo was a whole bunch of games. And the price was $250. Now that's a decent amount for a Sega Mega Drive. If you sell the console by itself on eBay with the 2 controllers, you're probably going to get around like $200. So I reckon a lot of people thought there was no money to be made in this, especially with the fact the description said everything was untested because the seller didn't have the right TV or the right cables, one of those fucking things. What a lot of people missed though was that in the second photo, some of the games were cropped out. You know how Facebook Marketplace works with photos. If you don't click on the photo to enlarge it, then you don't see the top and the bottom unless the person has taken, you know, a 1:1 image resolution photo, right? So the top couple of games were cut off. The middle games, you know, the ones that most people could see, were uninspiring things like Brian Lara Cricket, NHL 97, sports games. We all know sports video games don't sell for any sort of money. There was another one that was like, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? It's just very uninspiring. So people would have looked at this, quickly looked at the games, and thought, well, no, I don't want this. Especially the fact these cunts lived in the middle of nowhere. So I saw all of that. I clicked on the photo. I did what others didn't. And I could see one game that was worth a lot of money. I did the fucking CSI enhance, right? I zoomed in and I was like, well, this is not your regular Sega Mega Drive game. This was a game called Sonic and Knuckles. This is a very, very expensive game. And if you get the game with the case and the manual, you know, along with the cartridge, complete in box, boom, massive payday. It would pay for the entire fucking thing. So I send them a message. It's been over an hour since this is up. And they're like, yup, it's still available. This is where you start to second guess yourself because you're like, why are video games still available an hour after they've gone live? It's the same when you go to a garage sale and it's the middle of the day and they still have, you know, their entire tub of video games out. And you're like, well, this is going to be overpriced, right? One of those situations where the person's like, yeah, $20 a game and all of the games are fucking shit. You know, We Fit, We Play, We No Play, thank you. I'm thinking like one of the reasons it's still up, not just because people didn't see the photos or they didn't enlarge the photos. It's because this place was in the middle of nowhere, man. Like I don't mind sharing the suburb. I was like, where's the pickup location? They were like Hobartville. And I'm like, surely my Facebook algorithm has not shown me video games in fucking Tasmania. I don't mind doing, you know, an hour drive, 2-hour drive if it's a really good deal. But I'm not going to fucking Tasmania for some video games. Turns out it's not in Tasmania. There is a suburb just outside of Sydney. I mean, not just outside, a fair distance away from Sydney called Hobartville. And to get there, you drive about an hour. What is it? West? Is it west? I don't know. Who knows what, you know, north, south, east, west. That's a fucking compass. Why? I don't like it when people talk like that, even though I have said north before, driven north. It doesn't even matter. Why? Who gives a fuck where it is? I drove there. I knew I was in the middle of nowhere because I saw things that I have never seen before. And that is, I mean, it's fucking grass and it's cows and it's goats and it's sheep. You don't see that every day when you're living in the Sydney city, right? To be honest, it's sort of nice to see. You know, it's a bit of a novelty for someone like me to see a fucking goat. I don't know if that's sad. Or if that's, I mean, it's not interesting, but I saw a goat on the weekend. Cool. All right. Anyway, got out there, paid $250. When I was speaking to these people, I really believed that they had not tested any of this out. A lot of the times when it comes to these sellers, they might mark it as untested even if they've tested it out, and they know it's not going to work, but they just say untested instead of not working. It really bugs me. But these people, I totally believe them. They didn't have the right cable. I don't blame them for not having the right cable. I mean, it plugs into a fucking antenna, or the old fucking, not even the RCA cables. It didn't have any of that. It had like an antenna frequency thing. Like, I don't know how that works, man. What do? Plug it into a TV with an antenna and then tune it into... I swear to God, in the instruction manual, it said you tune it into your TV. How the fuck does one do that in 2026? Paid the money, got everything. I put everything straight in the boot because I knew if I put it in the front seat, I'm going to be distracted while I'm driving, and I'm going to try and look in these games to see if any of them are complete in the box. And chances are, on the way back, I'll have my head in fucking Sonic, looking at the manual. I'll crash into one of these fucking goats and die. That will be my legacy. Dying for a fucking $500 Facebook Marketplace deal. I could see that happening, man, especially the way my car's been going and the way I've been distracted and not caring about much anyway. So we take it home. There's a whole boatload of games. I open up some of the more expensive ones, and I swear to God, every single expensive game had its manual, and the ones that weren't, the NHLs, the Brian Lara cricket, they didn't have the fucking manual. So I'm cheering in that regard. All the good ones have the manuals. And the way that it works out, I was right. The one game that I thought was going to be the most expensive and the one that would pay for everything was complete in box Sonic and Knuckles Sega Mega Drive Booyah. It's the second time I've said Booyah this week. So this game, Sonic and Knuckles, it's not like a regular game, because here's what happened with the development with this game. So 1994, take you back to 1994, I was 2 years old. And Sega was developing this game, Sonic and Knuckles, and they were developing their other game, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. They were doing them at the same time, and they were going to make them the same game, right? But they ran out of money, they ran out of time. And then at the last minute, they decided to split the games. But the Sonic and Knuckles, it has a cartridge, and the feature on this cartridge is that it has an adapter. And if you get the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 game and you plug it in to Sonic and Knuckles, you get to play, both games. It's like adding on a different game. It gives you different features. You can do it with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as well. It just plugs in and it sort of creates like this really cool combo of these two different games. And because of that feature, that unique feature, it sells on eBay. I'm looking at sold comps here. The last one was 27th of April. What is it now? It's now May, for $349.95. Now that isn't an anomaly. There was one just before 23rd of April for $265, and then there was one 19th of April for $320. So this thing sells consistently for over $300. That's $300 for a single game. That's a lot of money. A lot of money, especially when these games, they're not good. I mean, they're not. The detail is not there. I guess that's what some people like about these games, right? Like, that's what nostalgia feels like in 2026. Like, I enjoy something that's bad. You get a VHS player, the quality and the audio is really bad, but people, I like this bad thing. You play these old games and the graphics suck, the sound sucks. Oh, I enjoy it because it's sucky. And then the same with these CRT TVs. Oh, they're small and the picture is bad. Oh, I like that. What's the point? What's the point? Why are people enjoying bad things? Is it because most things in 2026 fucking suck and they like these older things that, like, maybe they suck a bit less? They still suck, but they suck a bit less. I don't fucking know. We're going back to a point in time. People are buying things that suck on purpose. Usually you don't purposely buy things that suck. There's probably a joke in there somewhere that is inappropriate for this podcast. But I'm going to tell you how this all breaks down. How do all these games break down? I'll tell you all about these games, what they sell for, their listed price, how much we're going to be able to make after our $250 investment. So, first game, Road Rash 3. This is actually a game I played as a kid with my father, so you can understand that it's an inappropriate game for a kid, I guess. It's motorcycle riding, you're in a race, and it sounds normal, except you get given like chains and pipes, and you get to like whack the cunt next to you, which seems very unfair for a motorcycle race, and that sells for about $50. Now the next game, NHL 97, ice hockey game, not very popular within Australia. We don't have an ice hockey culture. We've talked about ice hockey before on this podcast, which sounds like rambling off-topic nonsense. Why would you talk about ice hockey when it comes to flipping? But that's worth $30. And when I say that's worth like $30, it means you list it on eBay for $30. You still need to pay postage, which is going to be like minimum 10, and then you eat into eBay fees, so you'd be left with like $15, right? So I'll tell you what I'll do with all of these low value games afterwards. Then we have Super Monaco GP, again, another car racing game. It doesn't have the whips and the chains. That's $20. Then we have Sonic and Knuckles. This is the breadwinner. This is a $300 game, complete in box. Sonic the Hedgehog and his little pal Knuckles. Then we have the absolute worst game of the bundle, PGA Tour Golf 3. This sells on eBay, I'm not kidding, for $10. So I don't know how anyone can make a profit selling this. I think the minimum you can spend on like track to post is like you chuck it in an extra small satchel thing, right? That's like $9 something, isn't it? Like I just sent off 2 things today, an extra small. I think they were $15 after I had my discount. So $7.50. You're selling it for $10. You would not make any money. Anyway, the next game was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Another game that I had no nostalgia over because we never played good games or kiddie games. $50. Next one, Aladdin. Aladdin Disney game, $50. The Lion King, also $50. So there was 2 Disney games within this deal. So it makes you think, well, you could probably lot these up, try and get that $100 sale price or a tiny bit less. I can't imagine any of those Disney games are any good, by the way. And the next game is called Alex Kidd and the Enchanted Castle. I've seen this fucking kid's face on a lot of video games, and I don't think this guy has any sort of cultural significance in 2026, right? Like this kid, who was this kid? He was fucking everywhere on these retro consoles. I seen this fucking dumbass kid's fucking dumb face seemingly everywhere. I don't know what it is about this kid, but I don't know. He has a punchable face, and kids can have punchable faces. I think we can all agree on that. That's a $30 game. The next one was something that I thought was worth more than what it actually is. It's called Altered Beast. It looks like a man with like a lion's head. Yeah, that's a $30 game. And then the next one. This gives me nostalgia, but for all the wrong reason. Columns. Now, this is a Tetris sort of game. This is something that I played as a child. I did not enjoy it. It is a $10 game. And you might be thinking, well, Matt, you played all the adult games. This is a little kid's game, and you're not happy with any of them. Like, maybe you're just like a cunt of a kid, but I swear to God, if I got to pick a game as a kid, I probably would have picked, the Marios and the Sonics, and then I might be able to, have some joy in my life by buying this shit as an adult. But no, instead, no nostalgia, no want to play video games. It's just, no outlet for that. Next game, Primal Rage. Primal Rage is what I've been feeling every time I've walked into an op shop lately. I just need to tell you, I can't listen to Smooth, the radio station, anymore. And I can't listen to Heidi Tilton's come on and say her name. I don't like that she has an S on the end of her name. I'm sure she's a nice woman. I just get rid of the S. It makes me think there's 2 of you. I can't. It's the same with, there's an NBA referee, and for the longest time, and everyone that I know that follows the NBA had the same problem. They say, okay, the people that are refereeing this game, it's John Doe, Jane Doe, and Tony Brothers. So everyone thinks, there's two brothers, the Tony brothers are refereeing. No, his name is Tony Brothers. Brothers with an S. It confuses me. So Heidi Tilton's, I can't have a day off, man. Every time I'm in an op shop, I hear, hi, I'm Heidi Tilton's. No, good afternoon, I'm Heidi Tilton's. I can't. Good day, Heidi Tilton's. That's what I say to you, Heidi Tilton's. Anyway, where are we up to? Primal Rage, Dark Castle. Now, this was a game that looked like it was going to be worth some money, and it was worth some money. This is complete in box. It looks like some sort of horror game. I can't imagine a worse game to play on these old school consoles. A horror game, which is primarily dark, right? There's not much detail in this game, so if everything's dark on the screen, you can't enjoy this thing, right? You won't be able to see anything. That's a $100 game. Next game, Super Thunderblade. This looks like a helicopter attack game, $30. Next one, Sonic 3. So they made a bunch of these fucking Sonic games. It's a $150 fucking game. And I wish I played it as a kid. I'll never play it in my entire life. The next game, though, was something that I played only at school, never at home. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this game. That's probably why it was never at my home. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That's a $50 game. It's actually for the Sega Genesis. It doesn't say Sega Mega Drive. It says Sega Genesis, which is what they called the Mega Drive outside of Australia and Europe. And that was always fun to play on the computer as a child at school. Never played it since, probably never will again. The next one, Brian Lara Cricket, $20, no value whatsoever. And finally, the last part of this deal was the Mega Drive console. It came with 2 controllers, and that seems to comp up for about $220, providing everything worked. And spoiler alert, I tested it all. Every single thing worked. Sometimes the cartridges are a bit funny. Just like Nintendo 64, you have to put them in, pull them out, put it in, pull it out. Sometimes it doesn't work. You have to blow on it. Again, inappropriate joke there, whatever. That gives us a total value. If everything was listed up based on those eBay sold listings, we would have a total value after spending $250 of $1,240. Now that isn't like an insane home run, we did the Goosebumps, which was $100 into $4,000 in revenue. This is just $250 into $1,200. It's still good. It's still worth driving out, seeing the goats for, but it does make me wonder why nobody really jumped on this. Like, are resellers not willing to drive an hour, what was it, fucking west? Is that what I said? Drive an hour west to get video games? I think they are. They just didn't do it this day. Whatever. I'm happy. I'm happy with that single game that sells for $300 fucking dollars. And in terms of the games that don't sell for much money, we aren't going to list up those games for $10 or even fucking $20. We need to make a decision, and the decision is that we need to bundle some shit together. We need to put some of those low value games with the console, sell it for a bit more money. But the thing is, you don't want to bundle everything up just with really shitty games, like just the sports games. You need at least 1 or 2 semi-decent games in there to attract people's eyeballs. Because if they just see Brian Lara Cricket and the golf game, they're just going to fucking move on, right? So what I did was I took every game that was under $50, except for the 2 Disney games, because I'm bundling them together, and I put it with the console. So that would be 10 games, and their listed value would have been $220. But to be fair, they're not games people would be lining up for, so we can't jack our console bundle price up by an extra $220. We can't. So here's what the bundle looks like. We have the console, we have the 2 controllers, we have the instruction manual, then we have 10 games. NHL, Super Monaco, PGA, Alex Kidd, Altered Beast, Columns, Primal Rage, Super Thunder Black, Brian Lara Cricket, and we're throwing in Road Rash 3. That gives us a total listed price of $320, and after the shipping and after the eBay fees, that's going to leave us with $250. So that's going to cover the purchase. I'm also going to put the bundle on Marketplace for $250. That's what I paid, but it's still a really good price for these 10 games and everything else. And that means we're going to be left with just 6 games, and they total $680. And look, I prefer doing it this way because even though we don't extract every single last dollar from these things, we are only going to have 7 listings. We're not going to have 19 listings. And you hear the kitching, and it'll be for one of those fucking $10 games, and you have to go out to the post office and you're going to lose fucking money. So that's what the bundle, that's what the weekend deal looks like. We're turning $250 into, I don't know, like we're going to make at least $500 in profit. That's not too bad. We can't complain about that. This is what weekends are for. Searching on Marketplace for good deals, going out seeing some farm animals, playing some video games, or at least pretending to play some video games. Now look, I said to you earlier that we haven't had much luck in these thrift stores, but I was able to find one thing that I thought was worth, talking about and buying and selling, and it's an autobiography book. It was found in a Savers, and it's one that I hadn't seen before. And so I checked it for a signature, and what do you know, there's a signature in it. This was Roger Moore's autobiography called My Word Is My Bond. Very fucking clever name there. So Roger was famous, and I say was because the dude died, for playing James Bond. He played James Bond in 7 different movies, and he passed away, so that means that the supply will only drop, right? Like, it's morbid, but it's true. It was in its hardcover format. It came with a dust jacket, and like I said, I'd never seen it before. And like any sort of category, if it stands out, I'm going to give it a look over. And I was able to do some quick autograph comparisons in store, and then I looked on eBay to see if this book came with like a printed signature inside of it. Maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. I wanted to see if all of these books came with it, but no, it wasn't. And look, I've been looking at signatures in books for the past, what feels like forever, past 2 years. And this autograph looked genuine. It looked authentic. So I bought it for $3.50. I look at comps on eBay. The last sold comp was on the 18th of April. Is that right? A month ago? It must be. $216. There was one on the 16th of April, $230. Oh no, there was one in May. Here we go, 22nd of May, a couple of days ago. $125, all in the US. The fucking books that make the most money obviously have been authenticated by a professional. But here in Australia, man, it's not as simple as like sending it in somewhere and they authenticate it for $15. There's really no one here that is affordable or even mainstream. I don't think we have a mainstream autograph authenticator. It's just not worth it. And sending this over to the US, financially, it's not worth it. And at the end of the day, these companies, they have a reputation, sure, but they're just doing the exact same thing we're doing, probably with more detail and more experience behind them. But if you stand by your item and you just say, like, I guarantee this item, if it doesn't pass any sort of authentication, send it back and I'll give you a full refund. That's all that these authentication services do. They just stake their reputation on something. And if you are willing to, I guess, stake your eBay store reputation on an item, then that's, do that. That's what I'm doing. In all of my best judgment, I think it's real. So I'm going to list it up on eBay for $150 and see what happens. I've bought books before where I've thought the signature in store was real, and I've brought it home and I've looked closer and it wasn't. I could tell that it wasn't. And that's when I pass them off to family members. I say, you want this book? I don't tell them that it's not real. I mean, I do. I said to Mum the other day, I found another Olivia Newton-John one. I said to her, do you want this? It has a signature on it, but it's not real. I thought it was, but it's not. And she was like, oh, she didn't say yes. I don't think she wants it. I don't think any of my family wants any of the stuff that I resell, because it's usually, if I pass something off, it's something that hasn't sold, so therefore it's junk. It's junk from the past. And I've said to you before, I've always been very satisfied with the gifts that I give. Like I really like giving out gifts. I don't want to become that cunt that gives out, secondhand gifts that are shit. So I need to be careful with like handing out this shit. I don't know. Irrelevant. Anyway, I've talked about signing books so many times before, advocated for them. It's an easy way to turn your $5 into $50. I said that fucking constantly. I swear I wrote it in the newsletter, flipweekly.com, constantly too. But times, they have changed. We have gotten smarter. We're moving up the fucking rung, No more Ray Martin signed books. No more Liz Hayes signed books. I don't know what I'm thinking when I'm buying a signed Liz Hayes books. Who the fuck is the market for Liz Hayes autographed merchandise? She's a fucking news presenter. She's not somebody famous. Nobody's going to be paying big money for a Liz Hayes fucking autographed book. People would pay more for fucking Heidi Tilton's, right? Like nowadays, the only signed books that I'm buying are famous people, alive or preferably dead. And I need to list them up for at least $100. No more Ray Martins or Liz Hayes. Only really famous cunts. Preferably dead cunts. I know that sounds bad, but that's just the reality of the signature business, right? You get more money when people can't sign things anymore. But yeah, that's really all I was able to pick up for the week. I'm not bothered by it. It's like I said, it's bittersweet. I just wish that I had more cool shit to talk to you about. There's not much interesting stuff that popped up in op shops over the past 7 days. But it is what it is. And that's it. We're going to move on because we have some amazing fucking sales. We have my biggest Facebook Marketplace sale of all time, I'm pretty sure. So let's just talk about what I sold. So we're going to go back to March of this year, and I emptied my bank account. Yeah, I went big. I paid $20 for a complete hardcover box set of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. Now, the set that I found, it was released in 2007, and it had all of the books, all first editions. They were all published by Bloomsbury in the UK. None of that Australian Griffin Press nonsense. People prefer it when it's printed in the UK. And at the time, the sold listings were, huge. Like I'm talking, I comped up $1,000 plus. So in true Matt fashion, I listed that up on eBay for $1,000. I listed it up on Marketplace, $500. Now the books, they received a lot of attention, both on eBay, both on Facebook, and they sold this week for $500 after a buyer drove over an hour to collect them. I have to tell you, when she's driving here, she would not have seen any fucking cows or chickens or goats. Just the fucking reseller goat here. No. She didn't see me because I must have been in like I don't care about anything mood because I fucking told her to leave the cash in the magic freezer. I said $500. Just come get them and leave me the money. Like, what are you doing, Matt? $500 item? You just trusting people to pick it up? Yeah, I don't care. Just leave me the money. If not, we'll fucking break knees, right? So she drove an hour to get these books. $20 into $500. Now, in hindsight, how fucking dumb am I for listing these up on Marketplace for half the price on eBay? I get it, I really do. But I found like over the past few years that Facebook Marketplace requires like an enormous discount in order for like a quick sale or even like a sort of quick sale. Like if something is listed up at eBay prices on Marketplace, you're going to be chasing the market down unless it's so rare that somebody has to have them. Like I'm sure I could have waited for these to sell on eBay for $1,000 and it would have looked good. Like it would have made for good content on social media. Like, oh, look at this. I paid $20 and it sold for $1,000. We have the eBay ka-ching, blah, blah, blah. But when you have a $20 item and somebody says, I will give you $500 for this, and you say yes, it's not going to ruin your week. I'm not going to cry over a potential missed, what would that be? Like $300-$400 just because it didn't sell on eBay? Who cares? Who cares? You're $500 richer, Harry. Who cares, man? And look, looking back, I can't remember a bigger Facebook Marketplace sale. So this is biggest one so far. And like I said, I told her to just leave the money. I honestly think I was not at home at the time. and I just wanted, not to deal with people. So I said, just leave the money. And luckily she transferred it to me. She didn't leave cash, she transferred it to me. But yeah, probably don't do that on Marketplace. Maybe if it's for $500, you should probably see the person, because they might run off with it. This is definitely the biggest Marketplace sale where I've trusted the person to leave money. The last time I did that was, you'll remember, the WWE playset, and the person left without sending any money, and then it was a bit of a hassle to get paid. But yeah, I think maybe my desire to break people's knees is more than my desire to get paid. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we have some more sales to move on to. Next one was an AFL jersey. I bought it for $16. It sold for $120. That was a Essendon Bombers 2015 AFL alternate heritage jersey size large. Not much to say about that besides jerseys are still killing it for me, 16 into 120. Then the next one, it wasn't for that much money, but for what it is, I think it's a lot. This is the market for fucking popcorn buckets. Like it continues to really blow my mind, and probably every other reseller's mind that has bought and sold them in the past. I paid $12 for this Disney Parks Nightmare Before Christmas light up popcorn bucket. $12. It's sold on Marketplace. Someone came around and spent $50 on this fucking thing. Like, what are people doing, man? You paid $50 fucking dollars for this toy car, this plastic toy car that I'm guessing at one point in time, like, housed disgusting buttery fucking popcorn in it. Like, these originally were sold in Disney parks for $28 in 2023. And since then, what's that, like, doubled or tripled in value? Like, why? It's because people just like buying plastic fucking junk, man. Like, this sold on Marketplace for a huge discount. You know, I put things on Marketplace for a huge discount. I had this on eBay, and I'm not even joking, for $150, because that's what comps showed me at the time. Like, is that not absolutely fucking ridiculous? For a plastic popcorn bucket. Yes, it lights up, big fucking deal. It looks like, it's the mayor's car from Nightmare Before Christmas. Cool. It's a piece of fucking plastic, and you put popcorn in it. Like, it's basically a bowl. You paid $50 for a novelty bowl. Like, I have no respect for my buyers. I have no respect for these fucking buyers. It's just junk. You're buying more junk. Fucking popcorn buckets. I'm not buying them anymore. I'm just fucking disgusted in these fucking disgusting popcorn buckets. Fuck them. If I see one ever again, I'm not going to buy it. I don't care if it comes up for $150. I'm not fucking buying it. And if I do, call me out on it. Say, you're a hypocrite, Matt. And then point to all the fucking times I've been a hypocrite and I haven't changed. But fuck it. Fucking popcorn buckets. Buy something else. $50. It's a cost of living crisis, people. It's fucking $50. Oh, but then you say, well, we can't afford houses. We can't afford fucking petrol. We can't afford, to retire. Just let us have our popcorn buckets. Just let us have them, Matt. Stop hating on us for trying to get enjoyment out of buying this shit. What's a $50 popcorn bucket going to do to get me into the housing market? If I save this $50, will it lend itself to a fucking 10% deposit on a house? Okay, I get you. It's fine. You can have your fucking popcorn buckets. Just not from me anymore. Anyway, next item. Paid $12 for it. It sold for $99.95. It sold for $100. This is our nerdy board game from last week. We bought two of these things. Both of them have sold. This one was Talisman, the Magical Quest game. It feels like a long time ago that we got these board games, but it was only a month ago. This time just fucking... Time goes so fast, but at the same time, so fucking slow, man. We spent $26 on these board games. Our return was $449.90. We turned $26 into $450 on nerdy board games. Why? What's happening, man? I just remember that dude on Marketplace that said to me that these games sit for ages because nobody in Australia plays this shit. It didn't even take us 30 days to sell both of these fucking things. We turned 25 into 450. Man, what? That people are paying huge money for these nerdy board games. If you're not looking at board games, like, what are you doing? Looking at fucking popcorn buckets. Sell a popcorn. I can't fucking speak. Sell a popcorn bucket for $50, or sell nerdy board games for $450. Like, just make a decision. Don't choose the fucking popcorn buckets. Make a wise decision, please. Next, I've said a lot about older Tolkien books before, so there isn't much to say, but we sold these 1985 copies of The Lord of the Rings and The Silmarillion, paid $7 in total, so I guess $3.50 each. They sold on Marketplace for $50. Now, they were listed on eBay for $100, and I'll always pick up these Tolkien books, even if they don't crack the $100 sale price, because I enjoy it, right? And you might be familiar with one of those books, The Lord of the Rings, but you might not be familiar with The Silmarillion. And this is one that you need to be looking out for. You know, it isn't your traditional book that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Instead, it's basically an anthology of the history of Middle-earth. Now, it was published 4 years after Tolkien had died. His son, Christopher, essentially took all of his dad's drafts, opened the guy's desk drawer, found all of these papers, put them all together, published it himself with the help of, the publishing company, compiled them all into this one book, and it sells for a lot of money. Like, if you find the right copy of this Silmarillion, you can make a lot of money, but the most common one I've seen in Australia is the 1977 hardcover, and it sells for about $130. So buy it if you can find it. But speaking of books that sell for over $100, the next one was $7 into $113.95. That was The Art of Naughty Dog Studios. It was a hardcover book from 2014, and this video game company was responsible for some of the most popular games in the world, including Crash Bandicoot and The Last of Us. Obviously, I never fucking played these games because they're good games. So $7 into $113 in under 90 days. That's killer, man. These art books, you're always going to make money from, providing they're niche enough. You know, I found The Art of Walt Disney in Savers just last week. Didn't buy it because it only comes up for about $50. You want the niche ones, you know, The Art of The Lion King, The Art of Finding Nemo, The Art of Zootopia. The Art of Zootopia, we have sold that before. I think it was like $200. So you want to be finding these art books of popular video games, popular movies, just as niche as you can get. If it's like somebody's portfolio, a company's portfolio in book form, you're probably looking at $100 plus. Now that's all that I've got for you this week. Thanks again for listening. Make sure you follow Flip Weekly on all social media. It's just Flip Weekly on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. We have plenty of video content on all of those platforms, so make sure you check it out. I hope you continue listening throughout the rest of the year, because we have the biggest flip of all time still coming in the next few months. I'm sure we're going to be finding bangers in thrift stores soon. You know, it's our time. We deserve it. Not much this week. We'll find more next week. Go to flipweekly.com if you want to see photos of anything that I talked about today. Subscribe to the newsletter. Thanks again for listening. This is Matt. No, this is Heidi Tiltons signing off.
Flip, 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 flip.
Flip Weekly.